How are you all? I hope you are all enjoying digital classes. Welcome to the digital lesson. Today we'll be learning about a very interesting topic. Children, nature has gifted us so many beautiful things in which we have living things and non-living things. Living things, that means they have life. We have a minute particle present in our body. Our body is made up of a tiny particle called as cell. All these cells of similar function put together forms a tissue. Take any living thing, let it be plant or an animal. All are made up of minute particles called as cells. Children, in the last class discussed about animal tissue. Animal tissue is of 4 types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. The different types of epithelial tissue are squamous, cuboidal, columnar, ciliated and granular. Connective tissue is again of different types. It is areolar, adipose, skeletal and fluid. He has discussed about areolar, adipose and skeletal. Now in this lesson we will be discussing about the fluid connective tissue. What are the types of fluid connective tissue? Blood and lymph. Blood and lymph. Apart from this, we will be learning about the muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So, before going to the topic, there is an activity given in your textbook, children. Activity 4. In this activity, they have asked us to go to a doctor or a scientist and ask few questions about blood. Whenever you fall down, you keep playing and suddenly if you fall down, you get hurt, you get a wound. And if you start bleeding by seeing the blood, you all get scared, isn't it? What is the color of blood? It is red in color. So by seeing blood, we get so many doubts in our mind. I have just collected few questions. You can ask them like, what is blood? Why is blood red in color? What are the main components of blood? What is the function of red blood cells? What is the function of white blood cells in the human body? So children, if you ask these questions, they will give you the answers. But now, in this class, we will try to learn few topics, after which you can be able to answer these questions. Watch this video. This video tells us about the flow of blood in our body. The blood flows in particular canals. Put together, we call it as circulatory system. Observe this video, children. You can see the red color pipes. They are called as arteries. They are distributed from head to toe. Observe the flow of the blood, children. The red color indicates that this blood is pure. That means it is oxygenated. It carries oxygen from lungs to different parts of the body. You can see the flow of the blood. It is moving from lungs to heart. Heart pumps the blood till the toe of your body. From head to toe, the blood keeps moving. And who is pumping it? Heart keeps pumping the blood. Children, in the earlier video we have seen the flow of oxygenated blood from lungs to different parts of the body. Now observe this video. In this video you can see blue color canals. They are called as veins. Why are they called as veins? They are superficially present in our body. You can see it on your skin. It carries deoxygenated blood. That means impure blood which flows from different parts of the body to the heart. So heart is pumping blood. From heart it goes to the lungs. There it gets purified. Removal of carbon dioxide takes place and addition of oxygen takes place in oxygen. Lungs purify the blood by removing carbon dioxide and adding oxygen. Now see this, children. These are all the tiny particles present in the blood. They are called as red blood cells. As blood contains so many cells, it is also a tissue. So what kind of tissue it is? It is a fluid connective tissue. It flows in its arteries and veins. So what is blood? It is a red color fluid flowing in the closed canals in our bodies. Our heart pumps 36,000 liters of blood to a distance of nearly 20,000 kilometers in 24 hours. Children, in just 24 hours. Children, what is this human body made up of actually? It is made up of so many organs and organ system. They need energy to work. So, we need a lot of blood to supply oxygen from head to toe of the body. So, how many red blood cells are there to carry oxygen? The human body manufactures around 17 million red blood cells per second. So, children, normal adults have around 5 liters of blood. So, how much blood do we have in our body? We have 5 liters of blood. Children, approximately 2.4 million new erythrocytes. What are these erythrocytes? They are red blood cells. Red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. So, 2.4 million new erythrocytes are produced per second even in human adults also. So, human blood contains different things, very important things used for your body. So, it contains metal atoms including iron, chromium, manganese, zinc, lead and copper, and it also contains gold. Yes, very minute quantity of gold is also present in your body. What is the use of all these metal ions? For different metabolic activities, we need all these metal ions. So, who is carrying it? Blood supplies all these to different parts of the body. The human body has about 0.2 milligrams of gold that is mostly found in the blood. See children, this is a picture which is depicting the flow of blood in the closed canals. You can see few particles rushing. What are those particles? They are erythrocytes or red blood cells. So, blood is a connective tissue. It is a fluid connective tissue. So, what is the chief component of blood? Blood is liquid. So, the chief component of blood is water. Where it is present? Water is present in the plasma. Besides water, it has several nutrients which are really very much important for our body. What are the nutrients? Like glucose, amino acids, proteins, vitamins, hormones. These are all required for our body. And children, when our food gets digested, the energy reaches to our body. Who is carrying this? Blood is carrying it. Then the cells excrete the waste materials. From the cells to the kidney, who is bringing the waste material? Blood is carrying. So, blood carries the waste materials from the head to toe to the excretory organs, like the excretory organs are kidneys. They excrete the waste materials. So, what is blood carrying? It carries lactic acid, urea and the salts. Along with it, the different toxic materials are also excreted by the excretory organs. So, from the different parts of the body, blood is carrying all these waste materials to the excretory organs. Children, observe this. This is a red blood cell. Observe the shape, children. It is biconcave. So, the shape of an erythrocyte is biconcave. What is the main job of a red blood cell? It is to carry and deliver oxygen to the tissues and bring carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs. Then, what is the shape of the red blood cell? It is small, round and biconcave. It also appears like double dumbbell. Children, the cell is also flexible and assumes a bell shape as it passes through extremely small blood vessels. As we all know that we have arteries and veins. They have so many tiny branches. Those branches are called as capillaries. So these red blood cells can move through the narrow capillaries also and reach each and every cell present in our body. Which animals do not have blood? For example, see this: jellies, corals, some types of worms, some sea anemones and sponges. These are some of the animals which do not have blood. How are they surviving? They have different canal systems which directly supplies oxygen to the body. You can see red color and white color tiny particles. What are these, children? These are the different components seen in our blood. Just now we have seen the red color biconcave particles are called as erythrocytes. What are erythrocytes, children? Red blood cells. Then what are these white color particles? Yes, they are also present in our blood. They are white blood cells. Apart from red blood cells and white blood cells, we have a very important component in our body, in our blood, that is blood platelets. So the cells present in our blood are red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets. Accidentally, if you fall down, if you get hurt, you start bleeding, isn't it? What happens? The artery or the vein which got damaged, suddenly it gets ruptures and the blood oozes out. When the blood is oozing out, what are all the particles coming out? Observe this: the red blood cells, white blood cells and the blood platelets, all floating in the plasma. What is plasma? I told you 70% of water is plasma. So when the blood vessel gets ruptures, what are all the things coming out, children? Red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma and the blood platelets. So coming to the next component present in the blood is white blood cells. They are of different types, children. They are neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes, monocytes. Now let us study about the different components of blood in detail. So start with the red blood cells. What are red blood cells called as? Erythrocytes. What is the red color pigment present in it? Hemoglobin. What is it helping in? Hemoglobin helps in the transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Then how many days it is living, children? Erythrocytes live for 120 days. Children, 1 ml of blood contains 5 millions of red blood cells. So these are all the different minute red blood cells or erythrocytes which you are seeing on the screen. What about red blood cells? Do they have nucleus? No, it is a cell but it does not have nucleus. Then where are they formed? Actually, when the baby is in the womb, the red blood cells in the small fetus is produced in the liver and the spleen. The red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. You know what is bone marrow? Yes. Inside the bone, the red blood cells are produced. Collected a picture for you. This shows the different components of blood. They are erythrocytes. The red color particles which you can see is red blood cells. The white color particles what you are able to see are the white blood cells or the leukocytes. And you can see small particles moving around. They are blood platelets. So children, white blood cells are neutrophils, eosinophils, monocytes, basophils and lymphocytes. So let us study about the WBCs or the white blood cells. They are also called as leukocytes. Observe this picture, children. The white color particles what you can see on the screen moving along the red blood cells are WBCs, that is white blood cells. They are also called as leukocytes. They do not have hemoglobin and that is why what is the color of WBC is white. These cells, they act as scavengers like the soldiers of our body. How? They attack the microorganisms and kill them. So they are saving us from the different microorganisms. Now see this picture, children. This is also a type of WBC. So WBCs are of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes are neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils. So the WBC, what you can see is a granulocytes. It is of three types, neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils. What about agranulocytes, children? Like monocytes and lymphocytes. Now what are these? These are blood platelets. They do not have a particular shape. They do not have a particular structure. What is the use of these blood platelets? They do not have a nucleus. Children, what is the main use? Acts at the site of injury and helps in the blood clot. If you get hurt, if you start bleeding, suddenly after some time you can see the blood flow will stop. And after it gets dried up, you can see a black color chip coming out from the wound. What is it? It is due to blood platelets. These blood platelets help in the blood clot and prevents blood loss. Children, observe this video. In this video, you can see blood vessels flowing in the veins. Suddenly, if you get hurt, see, you can see the blood cells coming out. So, who is helping the blood clotting? Blood platelets. See here, children. When the blood is flowing along with the red blood cells, even blood platelets are moving. And when it suddenly detects that you have got a wound, the blood comes out. Before the red blood cells are coming out, you can see platelets have got collected at the site of wound. They will stop the blood to ooze out. That is, fibrinogen proteins will form a network which will not allow the blood to flow out. Then afterwards it dries and stops the flow of the blood outside the wound. So in this way, blood platelets help in the blood clot. So children, now everybody has blood in their body. Then do you know there is a difference in the blood? How will you identify the difference? If a person gets hurt, if the patient loses blood, then he may die. So blood transfusion is done for such patients. Can any of the person take the blood from any person? No. Because every human being has specific blood groups. When your skin is cut, scraped or punctured, you usually start bleeding. So there is a clot seen, right? What happens if the person is losing blood? If the person needs blood, then everybody cannot donate blood to that patient because they have a specific blood group. Lance Steiner, a German doctor, discovered about the blood groups. He divided the human beings into 4 main groups. They are A blood group, B blood group and AB blood group and O blood group. So there are 4 types of blood groups. If you observe this picture, children, as I discussed, there are 4 types of blood groups: blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB and blood group O. Why did they classify it into 4 types? On what criteria? The criteria is the type of the antigen present on the red blood cell. Observe group A. Blood group A has A antigen and blood group B has B antigen. What about the person with blood group AB? They have antigen A and antigen B. The blood group O does not have any type of antigen. Now, based upon this antigen, there are antibodies present in the plasma. If you observe the blood group A, the antibodies present in the plasma are anti-B, B antibody. And what about the antibodies present in the blood group B? As it has B antigen, it has A antibody. Now see the blood group AB, children. It has antigen A and antigen B. So it does not have any antibody. What about blood group O? It does not have any antigen. So it has both the antibodies present in the plasma. The blood has antibody A and antibody B. Here you have to first study about agglutination. What is agglutination? It is a process that occurs if an antigen is mixed with its corresponding antibody. If children, as I told you, you cannot receive blood or donate blood to any kind of patient. Isn't it? Why? What happens actually? If the patient with a blood group A is given a blood of blood group B, then what happens? As we have seen the type of antigen and the antibody present, agglutination takes place. When one blood with blood group A mixes with the blood of blood group B, the antigen and the antibody, they mix. The blood clots because of agglutination. A clump is formed. So, blood groups should not be changed. You observe this picture, children. Here, how will we know whether the patient is having blood group A or blood group B? You can do this and test it on yourself also. Children, we have antiserums. Antiserum is artificially made. It's an antigen artificially made in the laboratory. So, if you take antiserum A on one side of the slide and antiserum B on other side of the slide, put a drop of antiserums, and here I have collected 4 slides. On every side we have taken a drop of antiserum A and antiserum B, and now we are going to test it with 4 different peoples. Children, if you take the blood group type AB, put a drop of blood on both the antiserums, you can see agglutination taking place on both the spots. You can see the RBCs have clotted there, isn't it? You can see a mass. So the particulates of RBCs, they have combined together. The antigen and antibody have combined together. Agglutination has taken place on both the drops of antiserum A and antiserum B. That means what is the type of blood we have taken here? The blood group is AB. Now you take the second slide, children. In the second slide, type A blood group we have taken, and when a drop of it has been taken on antiserum A, agglutination has taken place. But now you see the other side, agglutination has not taken place. Children, take type B blood. A drop of blood, when it is dropped on antiserum A, there is no agglutination. But you can see on the other side of the slide, agglutination of the RBC particles has taken place. Antigen antibody have combined together. Children, if you see type O blood, drop of blood with it, blood group O, if it is taken on antiserum A and antiserum B, there is no agglutination taking place. Why? Because it is not having any antigen. It has only antibodies. So, the antigens have not reacted with any kind of antibodies. So, agglutination has not taken place. So, like this, you can test the type of blood group you are having by taking the antisera. So, human beings with blood group AB can receive blood from any other groups because they do not have any antibodies. They can receive blood from any of the group because agglutination will not take place between the antigen and the antibody. Now, what are universal donors? Human beings with blood group O, they can donate blood to any of the persons with any kind of antigen or antibody, with any of the blood groups. Children, what is the reason? They do not have any antigen. So, they can donate blood because agglutination will not take place between the antigen and the antibody. Now, the very important part of blood grouping is Rh factor. You might have seen in your blood test reports that the blood group is given as A positive or B positive or A negative or B negative. What does this mean? This says about the presence of a protein called as rhesus protein. Rh factor, you might have heard about it. Rh factor or the rhesus protein is present on the red blood cells. Children, if this protein is present, then we are said to be positive. If the protein is absent, then the blood group is said to be negative. So by this you can say that if a patient is having a blood group A and a RH factor, then the type of the blood group is A positive. If the patient is having blood group A and no rhesus RH factor, then it is said to be as A negative. Like that, if B antigens are present and RH factor is present, then the type of the blood is B positive, and if B antigen is present and RH factor is absent, then it is said to be as B negative. Children, RH factor is also called as rhesus factor. It is a type of protein. Where is it present? It is present on the red blood cells. We get it from our parents. If you have it, then it is RH positive. If you do not have it, then it is RH negative. Almost 85% of people have RH factors. So observe this picture, children. Red blood cells, if they have a rhesus protein on them, then they are said to be RH positive. If they do not have that protein, then they are said to be RH negative. Why is it important, children? Yes, it is very important for mainly pregnant ladies, because if the child gets RH protein from the father and if the mother is RH negative, then the antigen antibody reaction takes place. The mother's body will feel that the child is a foreign body and agglutination takes place there, and this causes damage to the child, and that is why this test is done for almost all the pregnant ladies. Children, observe this picture. You can see different types of red blood cells. Here the yellow color horns are A antigens and the blue color horns on the red blood cells are B antigen, and the black color squares are RH factor. Observe this picture. The first blood group, that is the red blood cell with AB positive, that means it has A antigen, B antigen and also RH factor. So we have named it as AB positive. Then if RH is absent, see the below picture, this is AB negative. It has A antigen, B antigen, but RH factor is absent. Now see this. Here you can see only yellow color heads and black color squares on the red blood cells. What are these? A antigen and black color RH factor. So this is A positive blood group. Now this is only the red blood cell with A antigen, no RH factor. So it is named as A negative. Now observe this red blood cell. It has blue color antigen, that is B antigen, and RH factor. So this is B positive blood group, and in this it has only blue color antigen, that is B antigen, and no RH factor. So we call it as B negative. So as you know that if there are no antigens present, we call it as O blood group. It has RH factor, so we call it as O positive blood group. In this there are no antigens and no RH factor. So this type of blood groups with no antigens and no RH factor is said to be as O negative. Children, so let us recall what we have studied. Children, observe this picture. We have studied about the different components of blood. The different components of blood are erythrocytes, red blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, and the blood platelets. We have seen every component of the blood is important. We have seen their roles. We have seen about the different blood groups and which person has to donate blood to which person. We have studied about AB positive, AB negative, A positive, B positive, A negative, B negative, O positive, O negative. Like this we have studied about different types of blood groups, and we have studied who should donate the blood to whom and who should receive the blood from whom. The universal recipient is the blood group AB. Universal donor, blood group O. Universal recipient means they can receive the blood from any type of person with any blood group. Universal donor means they can donate the blood to any person with any blood groups. So children, try to answer these questions. Why is blood tissue called as a connective tissue? Write the procedure to identify your blood group with the help of a kit. As I told you, you have to know your blood groups. Write about the RH factor. What happens if the blood platelets are not present in the blood? write about erythrocytes and leukocytes. Children, I hope you have understood the lesson. So, for better learning and a good practice, please download the worksheets from SCERT website and try to answer them. This will help you to learn the topic better. Okay children, see you in the next session of the digital classes. Thank you.